Darren Rovell from Collect TV here with Matt Strahm, who I think is going to make the case that he is the greatest active collector player in MLB right now. All right, Matt, let's start because I'm always fascinated talking to the players about collecting. So you started as a kid, you were collecting. What was your fandom as a kid collecting cards?
So I was a huge Darren Erstead fan. So I would always go to the local card shop, look through their singles and see if they had any Darren Erstead. And usually I could trick my friends into trading me their Darren Erstead card because they were also obsessed with the Minnesota Twins and stuff like that. Or like I would come across football cards. Everyone loved Randy Moss up in North Dakota.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I've traded a few of those for some Darren Erstead cards. Actually, still in my parents are still in the house I was raised in my bedroom there. The light switch plate is Darren Erstead. It's still there, so it's kind of cool.
Did you ever meet him?
Oh yeah, so I got recruited by him, and I was the first recruit when he took the job at Nebraska.
Oh my God.
So
Wow.
yeah, it was that was a surreal moment and all that. And then I got to the summer before I signed, I got to play amateur ball with his brother in Fargo, North Dakota. And Darren came out to watch me throw a couple times there. Met him there. I actually have a baseball card signed by him there. My brother got it signed, but we didn't have a Sharpie or a pen. And Darren just did it in ballpoint pen, so it's like indented into the card and everything. But hey,
Well, you do what you can do. So then you kind of like most people, right, stopped. And then so tell me
yeah.
how you get back in and when you get back in.
Yeah, my biggest collecting mistake was I collected sports cards probably until I was like 12 years old, and then Pokemon was big.
All right. Pokemon was huge in like
Yeah.
99 to 2004 at least, right?
Yeah, so I guess I probably got into it when I was a bit younger, probably 8 or 9. I got into the Pokemon more so than the sports cards. And I did Pokemon all the way until I was about 13, and then fell out of sports cards, just running amok with my buddies and just being a teenager. And we weren't really into collecting much. Um, but I remember when I went off to college, my younger brother, who's 5 years younger than me, I went off to college and I get a phone call one day and he asked me, he's like, "Hey, do you care about these Pokemon cards?" I was like, "No, dude, do whatever you want with them." And then come to find out 15 years later when we got back into collecting, I asked him what he ever did with them. And he's like, "Dude, I traded them for a skateboard." Uh, so we probably opened. I mean, every time a trainer box came out, we each got one, if not two. So we opened anywhere from 2 to 4 of every training box from '99 to oh 05, oh 06. And then yeah, I would say right up until my sister graduated in '08, we opened up. And then when I left in 2010, he traded them for a skateboard. So
All right. So then when do you get back in when you're coming up through the minors or what's your
no,
college or
actually.
what?
My brother was drafted in 2018 by the San Francisco Giants, and I was living out in Arizona at the time when I was with the Padres. And so he moved in with me, and my brother throughout college, like that's how him and his buddies got their beer money was they'd go to the Target or Walmart, buy a box of cards, and then flip the card and do that stuff. And he kept doing it when he was in the minor leagues. Like it was his side gig. He would just flip cards in the off season. So one day on my way home, I stopped and I stopped at Target to pick up some stuff for my wife and saw the cards and I was like, I'll try a pack, and opened up some cards, had some nice hits, and then it was like turning 12 years old again. And just it was, I mean, I've been opening cards ever since. So I don't think consecutive weeks have gone by since that day that I haven't opened cards.
That's pretty crazy. Uh, so obviously, like Mike Trout rips a ton. Uh,
Yeah.
I've actually spoken to him about that. So what are you doing? Are you ripping? Are you buying cards PSA slabbed already? Or what is your want? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I would say in like 2020, I kind of went hog wild, ripping everything when it came out. Like just buy a couple boxes here or there and rip them. And then by about 22, I would say I settled into what I liked. And I'm kind of a traditionalist. Like I like the cards with an auto. And I mean, to me, First Bowman and Topps Chrome or Topps Flagship. I like all the flagship stuff too, but like Bowman and Topps Flagship and then Topps Chrome is something like I just open all that. That's an every year thing, every release I do that. And then the stuff I love, it's kind of my spoil myself, I guess, is the Sapphire. I love all the Sapphire products, and it's kind of what I stick to. I stick just to baseball. I always say I stick to what I know. I'm not just gonna, especially with the prices of what football and basketball have done over the years. It's wild, but
Yeah,
yeah,
the national treasure stuff and the going after a $20,000 box. I mean, I think a lot of that has that's given rise to to breaking,
yeah,
because
no
it's like
doubt.
who is affording that? Who is
No doubt.
it's crazy. And even the
The
but what do you think?
Prism even. I
Yeah,
mean, the
Prism.
Prism
Yeah,
in 2018, couldn't you buy a Prism box and like wasn't like 2017 Prism maybe 699? Now they're
yeah, yeah.
$1,400.
Yep, yep.
It's like,
And it's like, how many can you do? Now
yeah,
we have a guy, we know a guy, actually an investor in Collect, who owns the one of one, uh, Bowman Ube or first cards
yeah.
of all. He gets all the top prospects one of one. That is a costly game too. So, like,
Oh,
what do you think about? Because a lot of people do this. What do you think
yeah,
about the prospecting, kind of trying to get the low numbered cards of guys who might make it?
yeah. So that's why I enjoy. So first of all, I'm more of a pack rat. Like I just enjoy the chase and ripping, like seeing the new product and ripping, and you have what you have, and that's why I do enjoy the prospecting, so to speak, of Bowman. As a pack rat, when you open it, you don't know who Julius
Someone is.
Garcia. Yeah, Julius
Yes.
Garcia, born in the Dominican Republic in 2019. You're like, I have no idea who this 6-year-old is, but it's just crazy stuff. But then for me, I'm a pack rat, so it's all my cards are always there. And then say in 5 years when we're going through it, it's like, oh, dude, remember this guy when he debuted and he did this, and it's just so to me that's a more enjoyable way to collect if you're just a pack rat. If you're in it for the flipping and everything, you're kind of gambling on these 21 and under kids in the prospecting, and that is dicey business. I mean,
Yeah, but we're in this economy where it's like a degenerate economy where
no
like
doubt.
there's Bitcoin and there's real sports gambling, and like cards are just like, just a part of that.
Right,
It's almost like normalized, where you're like, do you realize that if you're buying this box, your chances of hitting are this, and
right.
it might not work out for you. Which
No
I think
doubt.
some of the I mean, some of the guys who I've talked to on teams, like, I feel like they're still fresh in it and might not get it.
Right, no doubt. And I mean, I've watched guys open in the clubhouse, and it's like you said, it's a degenerate rip for sure. Obviously, like even a lot of guys aren't going to go and peddle a $5 card to like turn their. I'm not even doing that. I'm just putting it in, and it is what it is, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I want my collection to be something that my daughter does something with. If she enjoys collecting, I hope she adds to it. If she enjoys knitting, I hope she sells them and buys some cool needles or something. But it's just like I do it because I enjoy it, and also it's kind of cool that I'm so close to these guys when I'm ripping them. Like, I mean, I've ripped a box of with Tanner Houck, and it was his rookie box, and it was a 21 Stadium Club box, and we're sitting there opening it, and he hits his card, and he sets it on the table, and he signs it, and he gives it to me. So it's like they all have these cool stories of opening, and it's just that's why I do it.
Now, Michael Phelps is a huge collector, and I've actually gone with him. We've opened up stuff, and then he signs them all,
Yeah.
which is kind of like a great cheat code, right?
Oh,
Because you just
the
mentioned it.
best.
It's like, okay, well, it doesn't need to be numbered from the company. I
Oh,
can just sign these and then send them to the PSA.
yeah.
Have you done that? Have you had guys do that? Like, be like, hey, isn't it just free money if I just sign this thing and get it graded.
I joke with all my teammates that I'm going to show their kids that. So like Castellanos has Liam Castellanos, the famous Liam. So I always joke with them that like whenever your dad cuts you off in allowance, just come to me. I'll show you how to make money. And we'll just have your dad sign some cards, and then you can go flip those. But I mean it. I've also explained the prospecting to guys of like, yo, like some young prospect. I was with Tatis in San Diego when he debuted, and I was like, look, dude, your Bowman card sells for $30, but the ones you're signing for everyone outside that they're going to eBay and selling sells for $70.
Right.
Does Topps pay you $40 a signature? Because that's my
Yep.
math right there. So
Right.
why wouldn't you go
Exactly.
buy everyone for $30? And also, your card's only worth X right now. Do you believe in yourself to be a three-time
Well, that
All-Star and
that's true. That's
MVP
true.
and do
Investing in
all that?
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, to use the cards to invest in yourself.
right. So like that's another cool thing, and that's what I think so cool about these MLB debut patches is like when you wear that on your jersey, like you're gonna remember that, and that's gonna be something you're gonna be seeking. And I mean, like I mean, I've seen all over Twitter these unique stories of guys acquiring them, and I mean, it also creates another fan experience because I mean, I'm sure most guys would trade those for BP passes, and you can meet them on the field, take your picture
Of
on a big league
course.
stadium, and do all that. And that's a once in a lifetime experience.
It seems like there have been more stories of guys DMing people after they show a one of one card where they're like, no, 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 I need that. Let's do
Yeah.
something. So do you think it's happening more and more?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've even Kyle Schwarber. He's been like, "Hey, if you see any," and Brandon Marsh, they've both told me, if you see any cool cards of mine, let me know. And I mean, I had a buddy in San Diego who's given me plenty of my low numbered cards, and sent me a message one day, and he had a 101 Kyle Schwarber relic on it. I think it was out of triple threads or maybe a 5 star. And he's like, "You think you'd want this?" I was like, "I don't know. Come to BP and ask him." So I left him BP passes, and when Kyle was going up, I was like, "Hey, there's a cool card over there. You might want to go get." So Kyle went over, met him, and Kyle was, I mean, he lit up like a 12-year-old when he came in. He's like, "Dude, this is sweet." And I think it,
Awesome.
it definitely grows more on the players that have kids because it's like I
Yeah,
explained
they
to him
see it.
like,
They see it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I also explained to him like, yo, Kyle, your son's 3 years old right now. He's not really going to remember all of this, but you have these to like just maybe spark a memory and stuff like that. So guys are starting to collect them. Like I got Kimbrel's 101 400 save card from Tops Now, and I got it in one of those revolving cases that sits there and floats, and I gifted that to at the time, it was his 18-month-old son. So
Really
it was
cool.
cool. Yeah.
What about wearing stuff on the field, the All-Star game, the card belt, and putting things in your pocket?
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw Bobby Witt and Corbin Carroll do that earlier in the year, and I mean, it's a cool idea. I don't want to say superstitious, but I'm just very regimented in what I do, and I don't want to be goofing around before a competitive game. So when I made the All-Star game, it was kind of a unique moment for myself to do that. And I mean, the card belt, that immediately came to me. I remember calling my wife, telling her I made it, the All-Star game, and then my mom and dad. And then as soon as I was done with that, I immediately texted Brandon Versale, who's the producer of the Card Life. And I was like, yo, the guy we had on the Card Life, we need to see if he can make me a belt for the All-Star game. So yeah, the card belt guy, he made me 2 belts. I wore one for the home run derby and then one in the game. They were sweet.
Let's talk about the card life. How have you enjoyed doing it?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's brought me some awesome, I mean, just experiences. I mean, I've also acquired, I mean, people are so generous in this hobby, and I've acquired unbelievable things. When we shot our Seattle show, a gentleman gave me the first ever North Dakota baseball player card. Gonna blank on his name now because I've never even heard of this guy. He like quizzed me before, and I was like, dude,
It
I
was like it was
know.
like it was like a 1899 card or something like that.
Like, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And he gave me the card, and I was like, oh, this is sweet. And he said, flip it over. And I flipped it over, and the player had signed it, and it was all
Oh my
authenticated and
God.
everything. And then as we wrapped up the show, he's like, I got one more gift for you. And he gave it to me. And it was this guy's senior picture from whatever year, like the player's senior picture of high school. And it's like, just so I've just acquired some
Yeah, the guy
very,
the guy kept it. He was fascinated with it. He kept it, and then he gave it to you.
yeah. And I mean, it was just a connection. I'm from North Dakota. I say the back of my baseball card, I believe, says I was the 14th North Dakota born baseball player. And it's like I think we claim like five. The born in North Dakota, we're right on the Minnesota North Dakota border. So guys that were born in North Dakota but grew up in Minnesota, we don't North. If you're in North Dakota and you stayed in North Dakota,
That's awesome. Where do you think like so one of the things that I think about is how complex cards are, right? Like
yeah,
I think it's not that easy to understand. So a lot of people think they're playing fantasy baseball, right? Like as you said to the guys, I do well, my card goes up, but it's really not that. It's there's scarcity, there's how much is baked into the price. Over time, how much have you kind of appreciated how complex, this really is and what goes into when something sells, what it sells for?
yeah. So I mean, again, I don't follow like that was I did the Philly show, and when people would come up and ask me to do trades, I was just straight with them. Like, I don't look at values, I don't follow values. I understand the rarity of a superfractor, a red parallel, and I get my Bowman and I get my Topps Chrome. Um, the thing I always tell people when they're looking to buy individual cards is don't buy it the week the product's releasing. Like that's the biggest thing I always see, and it just blows my mind that still like didn't someone spend some like something ridiculous on a Lonzo Ball rookie
Or
base
the or the
prism?
or the or the Brady Expos card,
Yeah,
when that came out,
yeah,
people
yeah,
just and then the next week it's half, then the next week it's half,
yeah.
and it's like that is one. Or don't buy the player the week he's exploding.
Right.
Figure it out. That certainly that too.
Right. Like I remember in was it 29 or 2020, 2019 or 2020 postseason when Randy Arozarena went off and all of his
Yes.
prices just skyrocketed. And it was like his base card was selling for $3 in June. And then all of a sudden it was a $35, $40 card in October, which again, like don't buy the hype, buy what you like, buy. But I also get it in like the gambling aspect. So don't not buy the hype if that's what you're doing. If you're trying to bet on it with sports cards, do you? But don't come to me for advice because I ain't got any.
Do you have any like super fans who have like collected all your cards? Because so there's a guy who collects all Jet Williams Mets, top
Yeah,
Mets prospect, and Jet knows who he is because
yeah,
he has gotten things signed or he constantly puts out stuff in social media. So like I feel like there's a lot more players who know who their super fans are through cards.
yeah. I mean, so I have like three guys who are constantly they have very good collections of cards of me, but they've also been very generous to where like they've hunted down my one-on-ones, but I now possess my one-on-ones. I've done a deal with a guy that he had the rainbow. I had all the rainbow except the one-on-one, so I did a handmade one, like just inscribed one-on-one for him and like stuff like that. So um if someone does have a bigger collection of me, I haven't seen it yet, but I think Alan, my agent, and I were just at the house the other day going through some cards. And I think I counted up 41 of my one-on-ones. So I don't have them all. That's not, I mean, I've been in a few products, but yeah, I got 41 different one-on-ones of myself. So it's kind of cool.
It's amazing. So, Matt, you have a rule that you have to get a card from any player who hits a home run off you, and
Yeah.
if they hit two, you have to get it signed.
I try to get an auto. Yeah. I haven't. So Trevor Story, Freddie Freeman, and I think there's a third one that's gotten someone else has gotten me
Yeah,
twice.
see, you're so good that they have to be
Shoot,
great players, which
I'm
makes it harder to
thinking,
get their
yeah.
auto.
Why can't I think who has someone else has two off of me? But anyways, like I don't send cards over to have guys sign them. Like I don't personally have Freddie sign a card for me. I've either like a card of Freddie's I've pulled out of a product that he's signed. I got a little stack that I set him aside and but yeah, Trevor's story actually that was funny. So he took me deep twice when he was in Colorado. I was in San Diego, and then when I played in Boston, he had just signed. Him and I signed the same year in Boston, and I had two of his Topps Chrome rookies to 25, two of his orange parallels, and he had just had a baby boy and all this, and cards were still booming at the time. I mean, they're still booming like what they are, but people weren't into him as much yet. And inside the clubhouse. And anyways, I explained to him, I was like, yo, this is a rare card of yours. Like, if you sign a couple for me, I'll give this to you for your son. And then he thought it was funny. The reason I had it is because he's taken me deep twice. But now his son has one of those cards, and so yeah, it's gone. But I mean, I have like Brett Gardner's taken me deep, and I have a pretty cool just heritage numbered card of his that it was a heritage chrome. Nothing fancy. Miguel,
Are you gonna make a home run wall or something like that?
yeah. So when I'm retired and my wife decides where we're gonna settle down, I'll when I build my office, I'll have my wall of guys who've taken me over the wall, I guess. So
Good that your wife's going to decide because I know
yeah,
that she has to decide because
yes,
you're keeping all your stuff. So,
yes,
all
yes, yes.
right, couple rapid fire questions. Are you the best collector in MLB right now?
I this question I've gotten a lot, and
Do you know your competition?
so, like, as far as value of collection, I would say not even close, just because of some of the cards I know some of my teammates have either purchased or they've been degenerates at night on whatnot, buying into those ridiculous breaks and get lucky. So I would say value wise, no, but greatest like authentic collection, most amount of cards, yes. I would think I have the most amount of cards of what because I keep everything I open, and I mean
What's
it's a
what
mess
what
at the house.
what's the coolest thing you ever signed?
The coolest thing I've ever signed. Oh, oh my! So I just did a signing at the Philly show the other day, and some guy waited in line. I guess he had purchased it in the Phillies authentic store. It was my clubhouse chair from 2023. I was like, yo, that's kind of
That's
cool. I've
pretty cool.
never signed a chair. So it was my actual chair in the clubhouse. So
That's cool.
that was sweet.
Uh what's your favorite pen to sign in?
Oh, it's the blue ones that Top sends out. I don't know what they're called, but whatever Top sends out, those are the best
Not
ones.
Sharpies?
They're not Sharpies, but they're different. And I'm surprised they haven't I mean
That's
I
it. That's interesting.
snag
They
snag
should
one every
probably
now and then.
brand they should probably brand that. All right. Best autograph among your teammates and worst autograph.
So on my I have a personal collection account I've just started on Instagram, and I just shared this story the other day, but my two favorite teammate autographs are Jackie Bradley Jr. and Aaron Nola. And
Okay, why?
I mean they're beautiful to look at. You can see every letter in their name. I mean, Aaron besides his first A, everything's perfect cursive. Jackie's perfect cursive. But I joke with Nola that he's automatically second place just because Jackie has so many more letters to write.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Worst
but
auto? Who needs help?
worst auto. Uh I give Bryson Stott a lot of crap, and I also give Marshy a lot of crap because but it kind of goes hand in hand. They call them the daycare, so they write like a couple kids, so it works.
It's amazing. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate
But,
it, and I love talking to collectors.
oh yeah, it's awesome. Appreciate you having me.